just the old hat. Boom shakalaka, hey everyone, it's the Flying Pig here on Flying Pig United YouTube channel. How's it going? Hope you're having a good day. It's time for a bit of Monday analysis, the live video podcast where we break down the weekend's football. We delve deeper into the results, into the controversies, into any of the major headlines that have happened in the weekend's Premier League action. Also, of course, a lot of focus is on Manchester United because, you know, obviously this is your Manchester United channel. But do get involved in the comments section today. I'll try and get round to commenting on as many of your guys' comments as possible. Just want to kick this video off with a little shout out to a new little sponsor we've got on the channel, which I've put a link in the description down below if you want to go check it out. It's called bestsoccerstore.com. You can get lots of awesome jerseys and shirts for whatever football team you want. So go and check that out. At the moment, you can use the promotional discount code FlyingPig to get 10% off at checkout. So if you want a cheap option for shirts, go and check it out. I believe they ship globally, so you know, just worth noting. They did actually send me a few awesome shirts actually. So here we've got one here, which I haven't opened yet. Maybe I'll just do a little bit unboxing of an unboxing video for you right now, or an unbagging, if you will, because it's not in a box. But here we have Real Madrid's kit. Don't ask me why, but we've got a Real Madrid kit. So I'm just going to show you it very, very quickly indeed. It's actually a pretty nice kit. I'll throw that over there. And then, of course, I've also got this bad boy here, which I must say I think is United's nicest kit, which is the third kit. Obviously, not really interested in the pink one. I'm going to be honest with you. I know the sentiment behind it. The reason, I'm just going to look like a big marshmallow man if I was wearing that. So that's obviously not an option. And then we've got the home kit here, which I'll just show you very, very quickly. I don't know why I'm sort of showing you these. Obviously, everybody knows what the kit looks like. But I'm just showing you that they're nice kits that they've got anyway. Nice shirts. Go check it out. It's in the description. Use the promotional code FlyingPig to get 10% off. There we go. But, you know, thanks, props to Best Soccer Store. Great service, great quick delivery and all that business. Check them out. Right, let's get into Monday analysis. If you're tuning in right now, do us a favour. Chuck us a like on this video. Feeling a little bit under the weather today. I've been to work this morning. And I'm definitely not feeling too well at the moment. You can probably hear it in my voice. A little bit buckled, we could say. But the weekend's football, let's get into it. I'm just going to do a couple of shout-outs to some people who are already in here watching. Connor Watt says, hey, Pig. How's it going, Connor Watt? Alex Rincon, hey, Pig. Happy Monday. Just waking up myself. Good morning to you, Alex Rincon. Thanks for stopping by. T3 Triple D comments that says, tragic, which is, I'm sure, in reference to the horrendous news and the disaster that happened this weekend in English football, which was the passing of Leicester City's chairman and Vichai. I'm not going to butcher his last name, but Leicester City's chairman, philanthropist, always seemed like a good chairman to me, you know, and he's lost his life. So have, I believe, 4 or 5 other people in what was a horrendous helicopter accident. It's just a disaster, isn't it? Totally tragic. All the people involved, not just the chairman of Leicester City, but of course the focus will be on him because he was such a well-loved man from that club. I mean, this is a man who took over a club in the Championship, pumped a heck of a lot of money into them, showed faith, showed belief, and actually did something remarkable, really. Created a football miracle at Leicester City, the likes of probably which we'll not see for, you know, for maybe not even in my lifetime again, which is he got a club like Leicester City, you know, a small sort of provincial club competing, not just competing, but actually winning the Premier League, besting these multi-million spending teams like City and United and Liverpool and all these guys, besting all of those to win the Premier League. That was just an unbelievable season they had, and they did it in style as well. You know, Vardy, unbelievable season he had, Okazaki. There was a great fluidity and a great, yes, they played a lot of counter-attacking football, but I mean, they played such great counter-attacking football. They also played a lot of attacking football. They were just a joy to watch that season. They deserved to win the Premier League. Nobody saw that coming. Who saw that coming? Nobody. But that would not have happened if not for the chairman of Leicester City buying the club, having faith in the club, investing in the club. And it's not just about what he did in football in terms of the club. You know, I've been reading a lot about it now. Obviously, I did sort of brush over it briefly in my match reaction video yesterday, but I didn't really know too much about the circumstances or indeed the individual involved at the time. But it's since come out, obviously, the support, the grief that is happening at the club at the moment in the mourning of passing of their owner, a man who was so positive for the football club, but also the community as a whole in Leicester City, the city of Leicester, Leicestershire. So, just want to say, rest in peace. Obviously, it's a tragedy. The footballing community needs to get behind Leicester City at the moment, because obviously this is a terrible loss. And like I said in my last video, as United fans, obviously it was before I was even born, but the Munich air disaster, this is a territory that we're familiar with. And for the chairman to be killed in that manner is just an absolute tragedy. And of course, it leaves a lot of question marks around Leicester City at the moment going forward. I believe his son's going to take the reins and hopefully continue that really good valued, good morals tradition. And there's so much talk about foreign chairmen coming in and buying clubs, foreign owners coming in the Premier League. This is one example, in my opinion, where it's a really positive thing, because he's a philanthropist. He invested locally in the community, not just in footballing terms, but in terms of hospitals, schools, education, things like that within Leicester. So he did a lot of things to help out the people of Leicester, and so that's why it's such a tragic loss. And then you've got people like the Glazers who own Manchester United and buy it with debt money, whereas he's come in, he's cleared £100 million debt, of which probably most people thought, would he really ever get that back? This was before they went on to win the Premier League, of course. So I think from what I've read, I think he was a great man. I think he was a nice man. And I think he did a lot for that football club. So it's very, very sad for them. Just want to pay my respects to the man and also the other people that were involved. Obviously, they're not being reported about because they're not in the public eye. But to everybody in that disaster, it's just a horrendous business, isn't it? So, but yeah. So we'll move on with the sadness now. Obviously, it's not very positive way to start the show, but I did feel like I needed to say it. Richard James, hi Pig. How's it going, Richard James? Dreadful weekend for football. Couldn't agree more. Absolutely terrible disaster. Nobody wants to see that. Everybody should just rally behind Leicester City at the moment, because it is a period of just grief for them and a period of turmoil where, there's question marks around the club now. I think the people that are obviously feeling this the most will be the people associated with the club. His family, of course, condolences to his family and everyone else's family involved. And just everybody who's a fan and anybody who came in contact with these people. Sly Carey comments and says, RIP. Yeah. Craig Ashfield, so sad, Mr. Pig. Yeah, it's definitely a bad week for football. So, yeah, I've covered it. We'll move on. Maximilian7, how's it going, Maximilian? He comes, hey, Pig, great to see you as always. Generally a great tip for you, mate. Start live fan callings. It really works well and it's a great model that is being used by many successful channels. Yeah, absolutely, mate. I need to get my technology a little bit improved, don't I? I need the facility to be able to do that. Surely it's not that hard. Skype, various programs. I will certainly be thinking about doing that. I've actually wanted to do that for a very long time, so I will get around to doing that. Alex Rincon, you legend in the house, just says he just became a Patreon supporter. Thank you very much, Alex Rincon. You can support the channel if you like, if you want to maybe help me improve the technology on this channel, improve the video quality, improve the amount of videos I can do. You can actually help me by going to patreon.com, which is also in the description. Just a video full of ads at the moment. But you can actually go and support the channel if you're that way inclined, like Alex Rincon's just done. Much appreciated. I've only got a couple of patrons at the moment, but if we get some more, then I will start putting a lot more sort of content on there, which is obviously only privately can be seen by patrons on there. So, yeah, something to bear in mind. Right, everybody who is tuning in, I better crack on with the show now, and we'll go back round to your comments and anything you've got to get off your chest a little bit later on. But I just want to talk about, obviously, the weekend's football, Manchester United, the goings-on around the club, and we got the result against Everton. It was a great result in the end. It wasn't a great performance. There were some frustrating things. There were some hugely positive things that came out of that game. I think it's fair to say Anthony Martial was on a complete high at the moment. He's scoring great goals. He's scoring consistently. He's playing consistently, always a terror for the opposition. The last 5 games, you can't really fault Anthony Martial. He had a bit of a ropey start to the season, as did the rest of the team. Let's be honest now, they're all Lagash-tastique. But Anthony Martial has turned a corner, it seems, within his Manchester United career. He's playing well, he's creating, he's scoring goals. And I don't see any reason why he can't just go on and be our player of the season now. If he can keep doing it, his confidence is obviously taking a boost from his recent run of form. He'll be confident approaching games that he can do some damage. Jose's going to be confident to select him, etc. So I think that's one player who's really stepped up recently. Really stepped up, really shown the United fans what he can do, and that he's bang up for the challenge of being a United player and performing consistently for the club. Because that is the main issue. We all know the players that we've got in there have got the talent. They're not doing it consistently. There's other players that didn't really perform as well on Saturday. Marcus Rashford was pretty decent, but still, I wasn't absolutely blown away by his performance. Lukaku's come on, of course. Wasn't blown away by his performance. Jose said very nice things about both of them. I would like to see Marcus Rashford given a run in the side now, in that position up top there, because I think he is a very dangerous player. He does have bag loads of potential, and the only way he's going to fulfill that potential is to get game time and learn and improve. And yeah, it's kind of crazy because we've got this £75 million Lukaku on the bench, but the guy's poo, mate! Lukaku poop. He's not performing, he's not good enough. He looks like Frankenstein's little brother out there. He's playing like Emil Heskey's little brother out there. And it's not good enough, is it? I mean, he could definitely be a quality player for Manchester United because he's been a quality player in the past. But right now, he's out of form. Fair play to you, Jose, for dropping that sack of shit, because I'd have done exactly the same. I'd have done it a couple of weeks ago, though. That's the only difference, because he didn't deserve to be putting on that jersey for quite a while now, based on his shite performances. Sorry, I need some Sprite to keep the rant juice flowing. You can buy Sprite at your local Asda. Anyway... we will talk more now about how shit Romelu Lukaku is. So basically, it's not good enough, is it? He needs to sort himself out. I believe he could do it, but until Marcus Rashford performs as bad and as consistently bad as Lukaku, I say play Marcus Rashford in that position, and if not Rashford, then maybe Sanchez, or I don't know, but I don't really see Lukaku contributing too much to the team. Maybe he's not being complimented by the style of football that Manchester United have been playing this season under Jose Mourinho. That makes perfect sense. We haven't been good enough. We haven't been giving him enough service. But recently we have played better. Recently we have created a bit more. And I think he needs to man up. Just man up, Romelu, okay? You're taking your 250k a week and you're loving it, mate. Do you really care? That's what I think. No, I don't think he's actually like that, Romelu. I think he does care. I think he wants a bit of legacy. He wants to prove himself. He wants to be a fantastic world player. He's already almost there, based on the career he's had up till now. But he's got to start doing it. He's got to start performing for Manchester United. No doubt about it. Right, let's get on to that little twinkle toes. Paul Pogba, who played reasonably well at the weekend, fair play to him, he's done okay recently. He's still not blown me away, but he's done okay, scored himself a goal after missing a penalty after 26 steps. Can you believe that? I read that earlier in an article that it was actually 26 little twinkle toe steps before he stuck his boot on the football. Sort your freaking life out, Paul Pogba. Seriously, mate. This isn't Strictly Come Dancing. This isn't dancing on ice, even if you play like it 50% of the time. It is not. So I don't know why you're doing that, mate. I really don't know why you're doing that. It's just stupid, isn't it? You're just an idiot. I mean, you're a good player. I want to see you succeed at Manchester United. You're a good player. But you've got to cut that shit out, mate. What is that? I don't understand it. Are you just trying to create some sort of a headline? You're trying to grab some headlines? That's what it seems like, because I can't see any logical reason for performing like an absolute bell chop out there and doing 26 little twinkle toe steppies before sticking it in the back of the net. That's the only reason, mate. Did you lose a bet? Do you have to do that every single time you get a penalty this year because you lost a bet? I mean, I don't understand it, man. Sort it out. It's a shame we don't have Schmeichel and Keno and people like that at the club who can just go and stick the nut on him after the game and say, do not do that ever again, Paul. But there you go. Alex Rudd in the house with a super chat. He says, hello, pig. Working but listening. Thank you very much for stopping by, Alex Rudd. I hope you have a good working day, pal. Assisted by my velvety tones. Thanks very much for that, mate. Appreciate it. We've got a comment here from Subro Chatter G, who comments and says, that run-up was longer than Paul's trophy drought. That's it. Liverpool having a good season, aren't they? They still haven't won the Premier League, pal. How many years? 30 years? Sort your lives out, okay? Giving it the big one. I actually had a couple of comments, maybe from some Scousers who are in here right now, but on my last video saying, oh, just a Scouser here laughing at you. Oh, okay, nice one. Yeah, okay, yeah, you're 9 points ahead or whatever. Let's see at the end of the season if you're capable of showing the minerals to get over the line and actually win anything. Actually win the league. Because you haven't done it for a very, very, very long time, have you? No. But yeah, in regards, sorry, I just went on a Liverpool round there, but you actually were talking about the run-up of Paul Pogba. Yeah, sort that out, Paul. I don't want to see that, mate. Because it's just ridiculously stupid. I don't want to, you know, and also it just adds this extra pressure. You know, he missed the penalty, lucky he could put the rebound in, but it adds this extra pressure. When the fans are watching the player run up for a penalty, there's already tension. There's already will he or won't he stick it in the back of the net. There's already tension. You don't want to add to that drama and add to that tension by drawing it out like you do and just having a minute run up with 26 steps in, mate. You're an idiot. Comment here from Alex Rudd. There was a question posed on a different channel. What did you have time to do before Pogba took the penalty? I would say, well, you could probably knock 2 out in that time. Anyway, no, I don't know, mate, but it's a very good point. What did you do in the time it took Pogba to do that? You've totally messed me up. But the time we took Pogba to do that, what did you do? Did you make a cup of tea? You know, did you phone the auntie that you've not spoken to for a couple of years? What did you do? Nicholas Ho with a comment here. He says, where is Henry Hotspur? Henry Hotspur is in Guangzhou, China. That's all I know. No, I spoke to him the other day for a long time. Basically, it's a real shame because we wanted to continue this podcast and I will get him on here very soon. I will. I've been saying that for a while, but I will do it even if I have to surprise him by turning up at his gaff. But I will do. And I spoke to him the other day. He's obviously got so much going on. He's working over there all the hours in the world. He's got a lot to do. Do you know what I mean? So once he's settled in a little bit more, once he's got a bit more free time, obviously the time difference, it doesn't help at all. Then hopefully we'll be able to see from Henry Hotspur. But, you know, let's just agree that he's a bit of a massive letdown, isn't he? He's a complete letdown. Right, back to Manchester United. I'll go back to your comments in a little bit. Basically, it's a Q&A video, isn't it? You know? But let's talk about Manchester United a bit more. I wasn't blown away by the performance against Everton. I thought it was pretty average. Yeah, we created a fair bit, but towards the end of the game, Everton got back into the game, and then they scored. You know, they scored that penalty. It was quite a worry after that, and certainly the last 15 minutes of the game, it was very nervy for Manchester United, and Everton were looking the more likely to make something happen. We were able to hold on, able to get the victory, the 3 points, the win at home. All these things are very important. Sometimes it's not really about how you do it, but just doing it. Everton are a team that, unfortunately, I hate to say it, but are around us in the table at the moment, in mid-table. You know, we're 8th. We're a significant amount of points off the lead, 9 points, but there's still so many games left. I believe that Manchester United can challenge and get in the top 4. I do think that we can. It doesn't mean that I think that we will, but I do think that we can. And that is a lot based on how we do over the next few games. Bournemouth are 3 points ahead of us. We've got them on Saturday, I believe, or coming up next game. So that's a crucial game for us. We have to win that game. It's an away game. It's a tough game. Bournemouth have had a great start to the season. They're playing nice football. Eddie Howe's a great manager, in my opinion. Gets his teams playing very effective football, and with what is effectively championship players as well, or a lot of them, you know. He's a very talented manager. Jose's got his work cut out for him coming up against Bournemouth, but we're going to have to win that game. We're going to have to win the next game after that and the next game if Jose is going to get us in the top 4 this season, which anything less than that would be an absolute calamity for Manchester United this season. You can't justify it. I don't care what people say. If we're, you know, around the position that we are at Christmas time, come on, you can't really justify it. The owners take the blame. The players take the blame. The manager takes the blame. Absolutely, they do. But I'm sorry, but it's on Jose Mourinho at the moment to get this group of players firing, consistently performing, beating teams we should be beating. Yes, Bournemouth have had a great start to the season and they're a really good team. They really are. But Manchester United are expected to beat them because we outmuscled them financially by quite a large amount. The amount of players we got in there, the quality players we've got in there. Like I say, half of Bournemouth's players are at championship standard, really. But Eddie Howe's just such a great manager. He gets the best out of those players, and his system, his tactics are always very, very effective. Maybe that's a little bit harsh to Bournemouth, you know. What I'm saying is he's still got players in there from when they were in the championship. You know, obviously they have signed some big players, some good players, but you know what I mean? It's not nowhere the team on paper that can compete with Manchester United's multi-million pound squad with multi-millionaires in there, you know, getting paid millions a month almost. In fact, yeah, Paul Pogba and Alexis Sanchez and people like that, they're taking over $1 million a month. That's mental. Isn't that mental when you think about it? Obviously after taxes and stuff, they get half that. Oh, boo-hoo! Only get 600k at the end of it. Go and buy 4 Lamborghinis. But anyway, it's a tough game, but we've got to win it. We've got to win every game now. That's the situation Manchester United are in after a really piss-poor start to the season, playing drab football, ineffective football, defensive football, but not actually being able to defend. Manchester United have found themselves in a very sticky situation at the moment where we have to win every game. We did that against Everton. I'm satisfied with that, but we've got to keep winning. We've got to beat Bournemouth. We've got to batter Bournemouth. We've got to build confidence at this club, build momentum at this club, get this team in the right direction. Jose's the man, he's the captain, he's the one steering the ship. The players, yeah, they're the first mates or whatever, or whether there's only one first mate, they're the crew. Of course, they have got a lot of responsibility too. But Jose is the man that it's all going to fall on, whether it goes right, whether it goes wrong. If he keeps winning, it won't be very long at all before we're up there in the top 4. And I can cut my bloody hair, because I've said I'm not cutting it until we get back in the top 4, which hopefully will happen this season at some point. If we do keep winning, then it's only a matter of time before we creep on in there. But if we get one bad result out of the next few, then we're back down in the doldrums because of the start that we've had to the season. It's a calamity, lads and lasses. It really is. You know, we've not been good enough. We've not been up to the standard this season. A lot of that is down to Jose Mourinho. A lot of it's down to the players. Sort your lives out, everybody involved at the club, basically. You know, you're having an absolute mare. And I personally won't stand for it. So I want to see the consistency coming back into it at Manchester United, 100%. Jim McGill comments and says, can everyone just like, this guy's a legend, even though he said I had a day, man, when I told him Rooney was shite a few years back. Keep going, big. Thank you very much, Jim McGill. You're an absolute legend for tuning in and commenting. Please do what Jim says. Chuck a like on this video. And if you do happen to be new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. You told me Rooney was shite. In the end, it turned out that the last season or two at Manchester United, he was, do you know what, I probably wouldn't call him shite even then, but just not that good, not as effective, not as good, still scored goals, still, you know, a very good player, but not as good. But I have to say that I totally disagree with you, Jim, and I still disagree with you before that, because I think he is a true United legend. Up until he was about 29 or something, he was very, very good indeed for us. He's the all-time record goal scorer for Manchester United. But you know what? He's shit. I'm only joking. You were probably meaning that at the time anyway, that he was shit at the moment, rather than that he was shit previously, because we know he was very good previously. You know, that season where after Ronaldo left and he scored like 26 league goals, that springs to mind when he was playing as a number 9. He was an absolutely devastating finisher. The velocity of which he plays, the tenacity with which he plays. You know, he's an absolute beast of a footballer, he really is. So for me, Wayne Rooney, yeah, I criticised him just like you did towards the end of his Manchester United career. He's showing over in the MLS that he is just a classy player still. And I know the MLS is nowhere near the standard, but just the fact that it's so easy for him to go over there and just rip him to shit just shows that at his age, he's still a very good player. He's not even that old, is he? What is he, 32, 33? He's not even that old, so he could still go on and do that. Brings me on to something interesting, actually, Jim. What do you guys think about Wayne Rooney coming back to Manchester United on loan? Because obviously the MLS off-season, it doesn't happen at the same time as it does in England or in Europe. So what it means is that players from the MLS can come back on loan or can go on loan to clubs in Europe for a couple of months. We've seen it before. I remember Landon Donovan going on loan at Everton and having a really good time with them, actually. He was quality for them. You know, so he went on loan with them. We had, who else? Thierry Henry had a little loan spell at Arsenal when he was playing over in the MLS for New York Red Bulls. And he came over, and I always remember that goal that he scored against Leeds United, where he's come on and just the celebration and the ecstasy. And of course, it's a club legend coming back. What would you think about Wayne Rooney coming back to Manchester United on loan in a couple of months after Christmas, you know, just to be around the club. He knows the football club. He's still a good player. He can still contribute. You know, maybe we'd get an injury to Rashford and Lukaku or something, and then it would be very handy to have a player like Wayne Rooney. Or do you not want Wayne Rooney anywhere near United at the moment, stinking it up? That period of his career is done. He's been to Everton since. He's over in the MLS. Do you want to see Wayne Rooney back at the club? Another player that I personally would like to see come back on loan, because he was just pure balls when he was here, and even though we were a shit team, he was so effective for us and scored loads of goals, is Zlatan Ibrahimovic. I'm not suggesting these players even want to come back, but certainly Rooney's probably more likely wanting to come back, because if you think about it, he's going to come over to England anyway. His life's here, his family's here. I know he's moved over to America, but he'll definitely be coming back to England after the season, after the MLS is finished. So it does make sense for him anyway to maybe go and just stick on a red shirt when needed and train with the United side and just train with them and keep that match fitness and match sharpness up. So I think that could happen. What do you think about that? Jim, you're probably not too happy about that. I'll go down the comments in a minute and see what you think about it. But it's just an interesting one, isn't it? I would actually do it. And Zlatan as well. You know, we've got strikers that are not really firing this season for us. Rashford's not been doing it. I want to see a more of a run in the team from Marcus Rashford. I do. Lukaku Poop, whatever you want to call him, not good enough this season. Doesn't really deserve to be playing in the side right now. Yeah, he can prove himself. Yeah, he can get out of this slump and he can play himself into a bit of form, but it doesn't generally happen overnight. So I think somebody like that, somebody like a Zlatan, who is a leader, let's not forget that this team of players that Manchester United have at the moment barely has a leader among them. We used to be rich in leaders, we don't have them anymore. He leads by example, he drags the team forward. And not only does he drag the team forward, but he gives an outlet to his team. He's a very good player at holding the ball up. He's a great finisher. He can score from basically anywhere, Zlatan. He showed that at Manchester United. Didn't take him long, did it, to get going, and he consistently did that all the time he was here. So up until the injury. But for me, Zlatan Ibrahimovic would be a great addition to the shitty squad at the moment. Maybe inject a bit of balls in there, a bit of lion balls. Do you know what I mean? And just make this team a little bit better. Oh, what a sad state of affairs it is, though, that we're calling on two MLS players, two old MLS players who've basically been sent off to the glue factory, the football glue factory, which is the MLS, to be cut up and put into glue bottles. That's basically what's happened. But, you know, me personally, I could see the value in bringing either one of those players back to the club for a couple of months. I can see the value in it. It may not be a popular stance. Let me get down the comments now and see what you people are actually thinking about this. Gungshi in the house with a super chat of 500 Taiwanese dollars. You absolute legend. Thanks very much for stopping by and tuning into this Monday analysis. What time is it over there, Gungshi? What time actually is it right now? Let me know, because surely it's quite late, or maybe it's just the early evening. Either way, you know, thanks very much for stopping by, mate. His comment to go with it, he says Pogba's run-up went on nearly as long as the Scousers League title drought. Nice one. Somebody else mentioned that earlier, though. Said exactly the same thing. But it's so good that I love it, Gungshi. Thank you very much for saying it again. It was a great, it was a, you know, a shocking run-up, wasn't it? What is that all about? I've gone over it earlier on in the video, the start of the video, or near the start of the video. It was a calamity, wasn't it? What is he doing with those twinkle toes? There's no need for it. I don't want to see that, Paul Pogba. Maybe he is indeed auditioning for Strictly Come Dancing. I don't know. But either way, just cut that out. I really hope to God that the next game that we get a penalty in, he doesn't do that. You know, is that like his trademark thing? I think this guy, do you know what? I just don't like him very much. He's very flamboyant. I hate to say that about United players, because historically I've always, you know, liked United players. I mean, you know, sometimes I haven't necessarily liked the personalities of players or things that they've done in their personal lives. But I generally like United players, or at least I like what they stand for. Paul Pogba, yes, I like him as a player to an extent. He still does a lot of stuff that frustrates me. But in terms of some of the stuff he does off the field, and some of the stuff that we've seen in training, and some of the flamboyance of the man, I just don't like it very much. You know, all the haircuts, all the dabbing and dancing and stuff like that in dressing rooms and all that business. And, you know, it's just, it's not that professional. It doesn't impress me much. And things like this, and things like the hairdos and all that, it's just to create a bit of headlines. It's just to grab a little bit of the public's attention. That's what it is. He's an attention whore, man. That's why he's got a new haircut every week. That's why he does a 26-step twinkle toe run up to a penalty when he's a professional footballer and probably knows that that's not going to benefit him in any way. What is it? Is it a superstition? He has to have 26 steps before he hits the ball. If it is, he's done in the head, you know. But it just doesn't add up to me. I don't see why he does it. The only reason I can see why he does it is because he knows it will get people talking about him. That is the only reason. He's an attention whore. Sort it out, Paul. I don't want to see any more of that. Why would you do that? Stick it in the back of the net, mate. Honestly. It's a shocker. Alex Rod comments, I learned how to salsa dance and made dinner and came back in time to see the kick. Oh, Paul Pogba, you disgust me. Alex has got to learn how to salsa dance and make himself a nice dinner. It's a disgrace. Thank you very much, Alex. Gungshi says he'll go to China and sort that Henry out if he doesn't get back on the show with you soon. I live just across the pond from there. Do you know what, Gungshi? I could probably get on of his address for you, mate. Come on, let's do it. Go rough him up. Tie him up. You connect on a live stream with me, and we'll make him talk. No, listen. I spoke to him a couple of days ago. He did say he is going to do it. It's just very difficult him with working times and times when I'm available and he's available. Very difficult to do right now, but we will do it. Adil Farouk, hi Adil. Thanks for your comment. Says, bro, rival fans want Mr. Binio to stay. Yeah. I know they do because. Obviously, he's not doing too great at Manchester United this season, the way we're playing. We are not that force that we used to be. We used to have that it factor. When we had Sir Alex, we had that fear factor. I mean, not the it factor. We had that too. We had it. We did. And we were so good. We were so dominant. We were so attacking. We were so creative. We were so determined. We had really tough players in there. You know, the likes of Vidic and Ferdinand always spring to mind. Going a bit further back, the likes of Schmeichs, Stam, Kino. You know, we had a tough squad full of leaders, and it was always a challenge. Real competitors we used to have at this club. It was always a challenge for any team coming up against them. And they had the fear factor. If you're an opposition player and you're coming up against Scholesy and Kino in midfield, you know you're going to have a tough time if you're a midfielder. And you know if you're an attacker and you're coming up against Rio and Vidic, you're also going to have a tough time. And it goes all throughout the side. You know, we used to have great players, great attackers as well that would strike fear into opposition defences. We don't quite have that at the moment. And it's down to a lot of reasons. I mean, I think we do basically have the players on paper to play nice attacking football. We've got Anthony Martial, who's shown recently what a great player is and how attacking and how offensively good he can be by scoring these lovely goals and winning games for Manchester United. He has been brilliant the last 5 games he has. And we've got other players like Lukaku and like Rashford, who are supposedly really good players. What I think there is a problem with is the style in which we go about it. The way in which we go about it does not really play to our strengths. We've got a shit defence. So listen, Jose, why play defensively? Why set up defensively? Why play to our weaknesses? Why are we trying to play defensive with shitty defensive players? You've moaned about it. You said you don't want these players, basically. I mean, how does that make them feel? But you've basically said that you didn't get the player that you wanted in the transfer window. You didn't get the centre-back. We know you didn't. You know, I don't feel good about it. I wanted that player in too. But you're playing to our weaknesses by playing defensively with players like Smalling and Jones and guys like that. It doesn't help us out because they're too calamitous at the back. They've got too many errors in them. They create all sorts of problems for the club. They make mistakes quite consistently. They're not up to the level. Now, fair enough, we need to improve that. But then, if we have got those players in there, if that's what you're stuck with, Jose, then why don't we play to our strengths? Because I tell you what, our attacking players are nearly as good as anybody in the league. You know, if they're on their day anyway, performing like we know they can. I'm talking Lukaku, you know, previously for Everton or, when he was at Chelsea or West Brom or, anyone. Lukaku previously was absolutely fantastic and always dangerous in the Premier League, always scored goals. So if you've got him and you're feeding the ball into him, if you feed the beast, he will score. Surely, if you feed him consistently, he's going to grow and he is going to score and stick the ball in the back of the net. His confidence will grow. He's not getting the service required. Okay, when he does get the service required, he doesn't do very well with it. But the thing is, he's not a 1-out-of-1 finisher. You know, he's not that type of finish. He's not like a Ruud van Nistelrooy where he's going to stick in most of the chances that he gets. or a lot of the chances that he gets. He's more of a sort of an Andy Cole or something, or an Emile Heskey, where, now, and Andy Cole was a very unbelievable striker, but Sir Alex Ferguson used to say about him, and he scored shitloads of goals, by the way, but Sir Alex used to say about him that he's the type of player, he would need 5 chances. If you get him 5 chances, you know he's going to get you a goal. And I believe Lukaku's the same type of player. He's the player that you've got to feed. You've got to give him the service. You've got to give him to head, to chest, to feet, everything. You've got to give him the service. Get the ball into him. He can hold it up. He can turn. He can shoot. He's quite technically good for a big man. He's not as technically good as, you know, Martial or Sanchez or any of these twinkle toe players. But he's very technically good for a big man. You know, I call him Emile Heskey's little brother, because he's been playing like Emile Heskey's little brother recently. But really, he's a lot better than Emile Heskey, because Emile Heskey didn't have the technical ability that Lukaku has. I mean, in some respects he did. His hold-up play was very good in the air, strong, physical. But Lukaku needs service. And then we've also got players like Sanchez who look out of sorts this season. Why doesn't Jose Mourinho just throw a little bit of caution to the wind and go for it? Just go for it. Play attacking football. Try and score more goals than the opposition. Don't play to our weaknesses. Play to our strengths. Be aware. Accept that we're maybe going to concede goals. But try and score more than the opposition. We've seen that from other teams. We saw Liverpool do it last season. They were successful with it. I know we finished higher than Liverpool last season by playing defensively, but that's not working for us right now. It's not working for Jose. Jose's teams are always built on a very good, solid defensive foundation. They do generally play defensive football, have played attacking football in the past, but generally he's a defensive-minded manager who would love to win every game 1-0. That is Jose Mourinho, and fair play to him. He's very, very good at it. He's won so much stuff in his career, you can't argue with that. But this season for United, it's not worked out, and I think a lot of that is because he's basically said to the players, you know, in a roundabout way in the media, by not being happy about not getting the player that we needed in at the back in the transfer window, and criticising the board for not getting that player in. He's basically saying to the players that we've got that you're not good enough, and the first opportunity I get, you're going to be replaced. Which, of course, doesn't set these players up to go out there and play confidently and play in a relaxed manner, in a relaxed fashion. They're already fighting for their place, and they're already even think that no matter how good they play, they may be on the way out the door. So it's bad man management from Jose there, in my opinion, to do that publicly in the media. I know that's how he feels. I feel the same way. We didn't get the player that we needed. We know these players are not up to standard. We need to get new players in, 100%. And in January, I really hope to God that we get a top quality centre back in, or maybe even 2, because I think that's where we're really lacking at the moment. But until that moment comes, Jose, man up a little bit. Play some attacking football. Let's really get at teams. You know, Everton at the end of the game actually created more chances than us. I think maybe we had more on target, but yeah, we've had more shots. And I want to see us playing a little bit more direct, a little bit more attack-minded, a little bit get the ball into these lads up top and see what they can do, because we don't give them the service that's required, because we're playing this crabby, sidey defensive football that we could have had under Louis. So I think he needs to sort himself out. Anyway, I can't remember who commented there or even why I went on that tangent, but I did. So yeah. Alex Rudd, Rooney was decent at Everton. Yeah, I mean, he's actually a really good player. That's the thing with Rooney. He gets a lot of stick, and he got a lot of stick from United fans at the end of his career. It was a very bad time for the club, wasn't it? And he was the first mate. He was the man. You know, Moisey was the captain, steering the ship. Then Louis van Gaal was the captain, steering the ship. Those are pretty shit captains to be a first mate for, aren't they? I mean, that's not going to do you any favours. You're already, you know, going to find it difficult because the style of football, there was all these problems at the club after Sir Alex Ferguson has gone. And you can't just expect to get the team performing well. You're only one man. Wayne Rooney's only one man. And if the rest of the team's not performing well, if they're not confident, if we don't have the players, if we're not confident in the system, if we've got a shite manager playing shite tactics, there's only so much Rooney can do. I think he's a classy player. You don't get to be Manchester United's all-time leading goal scorer and England's all-time leading goal scorer without being a pretty decent, handy player. He's a very good player, especially back in the day. In fact, there's only a couple of players in my lifetime that I've seen come through in the Premier League, and I thought they are going to be one of the best players in the world. Now, I don't think Rooney quite lived up to that, because at the time, when you had Rooney, when you had Ronaldo, when you had Messi, as these young lads that were just, you know, setting European football alight with how good they were, at such a young age as teenagers, I thought they would all go on and be absolutely majestic. Now, Rooney didn't quite live up to those standards, but there was a moment in time when I held him in that regard where I thought he is going to be one of the best players in the world. Because he was so good when he was 18, when he was 16 even, when he came in at Everton and scored those famous goals against Arsenal, and he scored that goal against Newcastle for Manchester United, that ridiculous volley. And then he went to the Euros when he was very, very young indeed. Euro 2006, what was he? 18, 19, 20, don't even remember now. But he was so good in that tournament. He literally ripped teams apart. He was so good for us. Unfortunately, he got injured. But I genuinely thought he was going to go on to be one of the best players in the world. He didn't quite live up to that, but he still tore apart the Premier League for many, many years. He still featured in one of the best Manchester United sides that there's ever been, and one of the best Manchester United attacks that there's ever been. I'm thinking that attack with Ronaldo and with Tevez and with Rooney was just unbelievable. I remember there was just one movement, none of you probably remember, maybe you do, but there was just one, it summed up Manchester United, it summed up those three players actually at the time, which was, we were playing Chelsea in the Champions League final, and Wayne Rooney has got the ball deep in our own half on the right-hand side of the pitch. He arcs a ridiculous 70-yard ball to the left-hand side of Chelsea's side of the pitch to Cristiano Ronaldo, who just manages to keep it in the byline, takes it right to the line, and whips in a ridiculous ball into the path of Carlos Tevez. Now, Tevez almost stuck it in the back of the net. He didn't, actually. But it was just a ridiculous, insane move that could only really be undertaken by those players, and unfortunately Tevez didn't cap it off. But the ball from Rooney was Paul Scholes-esque. The run from Ronaldo was George Best-esque. And the finish was Tevez-esque. But what I'm saying is they were so good. So to me, Wayne Rooney will always hold a very special place in my heart. You know, he may look like Shrek. He may be into grannies, whatever. You know, we're not going to talk about his personal life. But from a Manchester United point of view, he is a complete club legend, isn't he? He really is. Kevin Morgan says Pogba's shit. I mean, I wasn't blown away by him at the weekend. I haven't been blown away by him for a while. I just think he's not really up to the standard of being a Manchester United player. For whatever reason, he doesn't fit the club. I personally don't like the attitude. I personally don't like some of the stuff off the field. And I also don't like a lot of the stuff on the field. Even in that game against Everton, where I thought he's played pretty good, actually. There were times where he's given the ball away unnecessarily. He's made stupid mistakes. He's dawdled on the ball and given away possession too many times. You can't do that, Pogba. You don't see Paul Scholes doing shit like that. I'm sorry. You really don't. Right, let me get into some other results that happened in the Premier League at the weekend. Just give you a rundown of what happened. So on Saturday, we had Brighton and Hove Albion. They beat Wolves. Big result for them at home. Bournemouth battered Fulham 3-0 to continue their great run of form and great start to the season. The only clubs that are above them are multi-million pound clubs who spend shitloads on players. So they're doing an unbelievable job at the moment. And they're going to make it very difficult for Manchester United when we come up against them in the next game. Liverpool battered Cardiff 4-1. Of course they did. They're a force at the moment. I hate to say it. The Scousers are a good team. They've got a very good manager. He's a manager who's not afraid to attack, that's for sure. Look, they're battering teams up. It pisses me off, but you've got to say fair play to Liverpool at the moment. I just hope they do not win the league. You know, I'd almost rather City win the league than Liverpool, because at least then we can still say 30 years and you ain't won jack shit in the Premier League anyway. So, but, you know, they are looking good. They are looking good. I sound very bitter, don't I? I am bitter! We used to be the best! Liverpool, fair play to him, you know. Newcastle drew with Southampton, who gives a shit. Watford beat Huddersfield 3-0, who gives a shit. And, of course, Leicester drew with West Ham. Very, very sad news, disaster after the game. Oh, it's terrible. And then Sunday, we had a couple of fixtures which were Burnley getting absolutely torn to shit by Chelsea. Chelsea continue a good start to the season. Goes to show you how good Manchester United were in that Chelsea game. Yeah, I know we drew in the end. We shouldn't have drew in the end. Last kick of the bloody game, they've come back into it and got the equaliser. It was a heartbreaker, but we were so good in that second half. We really were. That was pretty much the best time we've played this season, because we're coming up against really classy opposition. They've been so good this season. Chelsea, they're right bang in there challenging this season. They've done it again, away to Burnley. Tough fixture, 4-0, battered them. Fair play to you, Chelsea. You know, what can I say? Palace drew with Arsenal. So for Alex Rudd, any Arsenal fans, Gooners in here, you didn't win that one, did you? You're finally not won a game, but after 10 wins on the bounce, you've got to say fair play. Palace, fair play to them. They're a very good team, actually. They've got a lot of dangerous players in there. And, you know, it's not the worst result in the world. I think Arsenal will be fine this season. Who knows? They could even get into the top 4. But listen, United are not that many places behind, not that many points behind these teams. There's a long way to go. The only problem with the United is you don't know what you're getting from one week to the next. You don't know how they're going to perform. You don't know how the players are in terms of their own confidence and in their own minds. You don't know if they're up for it. You don't know if they're going to play 100%. You don't know if they're going to dawdle like Paul Pogba. You don't know what they're going to do. You don't know if Jose's going to mix it up and play David De Gea up top. You don't know if he's going to have Ashley Young as the water boy. You don't know what he's going to be doing. He's all over the place, Jose, in terms of formations, tactics, player selections. He does mix things up quite a lot. And I'd like to see the consistency come back into it. We've got to start winning games anyway. We've beaten Everton. That was a tough fixture, really, with the way things have been going this year. We've just got to keep that momentum going now. So I'm just looking at a couple of headlines on BBC News here just to see if there's anything that I want to talk about before I go. Oh, we've got a big game coming up tonight, actually, which is Tottenham Hotspur versus Manchester City. I guess I want Spurs to win that game, but I suppose a draw would be good all round. It's going to be an interesting game. One thing I do hear, actually, of course, Tottenham Stadium's not ready. Let me just talk about that, actually. So Tottenham had like this ad campaign, this marketing campaign, and it's this summer, and it said New White Hart Lane or whatever it was. The only place you can watch Champions League football in London this year, because obviously Chelsea aren't in it, Arsenal aren't in it. So it's the only place where you can watch Champions League football this year. Well, they're already out of the Champions League. The stadium's not done. So they've had a fucking mare there, haven't they? Let's be honest now. They've had a complete mare there, Tottenham. You're having a mare. Yeah, it's not good. The stadium's not done anyway, so, you know, it's kind of laughable. That is such a Tottenham thing to happen, isn't it, really? It's such a Tottenham thing to happen. Right, I'm going to stop reading that. It's distracting me a little bit. I'm going to get back to watching some of your comments come through here. L comments and says, Rooney has done a lot for the club, deserves respect, leave him alone. He would suit us if we had world-class players in every position to cover him, but we are gash. Yeah, it's interesting. What do you guys think about him coming in back on loan from the MLS? It would be interesting, but I agree, Rooney deserves a lot of respect, no doubt about it. Maximilian7 comments, hey Pig, would you take CR7 in a swap deal with Romelu, given the fact he's cut off there, given the fact he'll have astronomical wages and would be 34 in no time? I don't know, actually, mate. You know, Cristiano, for me, I'd love to see him back at the club. I think he's still got a couple of years at the very highest level left in him. He's such a professional. He really takes care of his body. And, you know, he's such a physical specimen. I expect him to be able to play on until he's 38 to a really good standard. And maybe I would like to see him come back to United, you know, in a couple of years' time just for a season swan song or whatever, if he's still good enough and fit enough, which I'm sure he will be. But right now, I'm sorry, you had your chance, Cristiano. I'm sure United would have paid the money, because you're going to get that money back in commercial success anyway from having such an icon back at the club. Shirt sales, sponsorship deals, all that stuff. You would make your money back in no time. It's a great deal for Juventus. We saw their rise in the stock market immediately after signing Cristiano Ronaldo, and of course we saw it drop after all these rape allegations happened and stuff. But you know, there's a lot to be said for Cristiano Ronaldo's impact on a club. But I'm sorry, Cristiano, you had your opportunity. We would have had you back. You chose Juventus. You're a Judas. You're a Judas, pal. And then you came to Old Trafford and beat us, didn't you? No, fair play to him, you know, but he had his chance, in my opinion. I still would like to see him in a couple of years, but right now, I wouldn't swap Romelu. Romelu's a young player, he's coming into the best part of his career. I know he's shit at the moment, but he's not always going to be shit. We've seen what he can do in the past. It's a matter of time before he sorts his head out and he starts playing better. It's just a matter of time. So I personally wouldn't swap anyway. If we could get Ronaldo on a free, or if we can get Ronaldo for quite a lot of money in a couple of years' time, just for a season, then I would actually do that. And I'm sure a lot of people disagree with that, because why do you want a 36-year-old player or whatever it is at the club? But I think he'll still be just, even if he's not as good as he was when he was 26, I still think he'd be better than most at 36. Robert Ingram comments and says, great tribute to the Leicester City owner, Pig. Thanks very much, mate. At the start of my video, I just wanted to talk about The man, I don't know too much about him. I've obviously read quite a lot of what's happened afterwards, you know, because of what's happened. Read about his life, read about his philanthropy, and the charity that he has shown the city of Leicester and the people around there, not just in football in terms. So I think it's a sad loss for football. It would be a sad loss if anybody passed away, but the fact that he did seem like a good man, the fact that he was very positive, and he wasn't just one of these foreign owners that's running it like a business in order to take as much money out of it as possible, or even domestic people like a Mike Ashley or something. Nothing like that, no. He's cleared their debt while they're in the Championship. He's invested in them. He's built that club up. They've actually won the Premier League and created a piece of history which will probably not be matched for a very, very long time. He deserves, you know, to be respected and appreciated for his life, because I think, you know, I don't know what he's done for the country of Thailand. I'm sure he's done a lot for the people in the country of Thailand based on what he's done for Leicester. I think he's been a good influence on the world. I think you can only really, that's all you can really want to do from life. You know, you can at the end of the day, everybody leaves this earth, whether it's, you know, from a horrible disaster like a crash or an illness or old age or whatever it may be. Everybody leaves this earth, and it's what about what you leave. You know, me personally, if I left this earth right now, I would leave nothing. There would be no legacy or anything created by me, not at all, apart from a few dodgy videos on the internet that nobody would watch in a couple of years' time. But with somebody like him, he has left a lasting legacy, at least certainly at Leicester City Football Club. And in terms of English football, that probably won't be matched again, the achievement of winning the Premier League from being 5,000 to 1 outsiders at the start of the season. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's quite unbelievable that that happened. He was the man that showed the faith in the club. He was the man that invested in that and led them to that glory. So I think he's done a lot for English football. He's done a lot for Leicester, certainly the city of Leicester, the people of Leicester. So respect to that man. Rest in peace. It's a very sad day. But thank you very much for highlighting that again, Robert. Much appreciated. Alex Rudd with another super chat. He says, I want City, F the Spurs. Yeah, you would do as a gooner, to be fair. City versus Spurs tonight. One thing, actually, it's supposed to be a shocking pitch there, right, at Wembley. I think I was going to say this a moment ago and I got sidetracked. Maybe I did say it and I've just forgotten. But the pitch is supposed to be an absolute calamity because of, like, these, I don't know, but there's been stuff going on, events going on, maybe some Poxy American football or something at Wembley. Don't really know what's been going on there. Somebody will tell me. But I heard it on the radio earlier that the pitch is an absolute calamity. And basically, tune into the game because, you know, there's a very good chance that we might see some comedy. It's a cut-up pitch. There's turf hanging off it. I know they've got time to sort that out, but it's not in peak condition. Let's put it that way. So I think the pitch is going to play a factor in the game tonight. Should be quite interesting. I'm going to try and watch that one. But yeah. Right, guys. I'm going to bring this Monday analysis video to an end because I've just realised we're approaching the hour mark. I've got to get on and do a couple of things this afternoon also. But yeah, I just want to say to everybody that tunes into these videos, you know, the people that consistently come here on a Monday and look forward to watching these. There's loads of you out there. Robert, Gungshi, Alex Rudd, Alex Rincon, Connor, Liam Martin. Loads of you people in here. Tactician Tom's in the house as well. That's my brother's channel. Go and check him out. He's asked me what my thoughts are on the accusations made towards Ronaldo. I mean, I honestly don't know too much about it. So I did sort of talk about it in one of my previous videos. I don't really want to say anything that I don't know too much about. But I personally don't think he's done, you know. I mean, I don't know, but come on. It's Cristiano Ronaldo. I don't really want to talk too much about that, though, because I have done previously in another video. And I did realise afterwards that I don't know anything about it. So why would I even really give my opinion on it? But there you go. NFL in Wembley. Alex Rudd comments and says, yeah, so the NFL have been at Wembley. They've torn the pitch to shit and left it in a state of disrepair. And of course, because Spurs' stadium is not ready, because that's typical Tottenham Hotspur, they've got to play this game at Wembley Stadium. And, you know, it's going to be a farce. Let's hope so, anyway. Robbie Jones says, thanks for the vid. Appreciated. Rip Vichai. Good sentiments there. Thank you very much for your comment. Really appreciate it. Yeah, everybody who gets involved with these videos, who tunes in, who comments, and everything. You're a bunch of legends. Really appreciate it. It gives me something to do on a Monday. Like I did say last week as well, that I will be doing a midweek mumble video, which is basically just the same as this, talking about the footballing news and Manchester United news and stuff on a Thursday or a Wednesday every week. It's going to be called the Midweek Mumble. So make sure you keep a lookout for that. That will be available on here and also post live. Once the live stream's ended, I'm going to upload them to SoundCloud, so you can check them out in an audio format on your podcast app at soundcloud.com/MrFlyingPigHD, or your podcast app, whatever one you use on iTunes, podcast app, whatever it is. You can go and check it out on there. I haven't uploaded the last couple to there. Basically, I need to just like get the pro stuff on there because I've only got space for 2 of the most recent podcasts. I need to buy the pro version and then I just get unlimited uploads and you'll be able to listen to them all. But I've not uploaded the last couple. I will upload the last one and this one, and then any going forward like the midweek mumble, which is very hard for me to say actually, midweek. So keep a lookout for that. As usual, thanks to everybody for stopping by. Like I said at the start of the video, check out the link in the description to bestsoccerstore.com for good, cheap shirts for whichever team that you support. Whichever shirt you want to sport, they've probably got it. Anyway, thanks so much for stopping by. You can, like I say, keep a lookout for this video on your podcast app. Subscribe over there. Give it a 5-star rating on iTunes if you can. It'd be much appreciated. Before you go, make sure you do chuck a like on this video and subscribe if you're new around here. To the usual legends, to new legends, whoever's tuned in, have yourselves a very good week. You're a bunch of legends. I'll see you very, very soon. Hopefully United can get the win at the weekend. We need to keep this going. We need to get this momentum back on track after a good, positive result at the weekend against Everton. You're a bunch of legends. This is the Big. Take it easy. I'll see you very soon. Follow me on social media at MrFlyingPigHD, and until next time, have yourselves a freaking good one. Oh, can't turn it off.